Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mindset Monday. Today is May 12th, 2025, and I hope you had a wonderful day. It was Mother's Day weekend, and I hope all of you mothers had a spectacular weekend. And I hope children and spouses and family members showered mothers. I actually got a wonderful afternoon of dining in fine style. So I hope all of that was yours. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Today is another day where we're in the series of Abundance in Service. Last week, we had an excellent talk with an a vet, and served in many different capacities. Today, we are blessed with a wonderful gentleman who has traveled the globe. He has served in so many capacities. James MacNeil is an author, founder of Pure Spiritual Intelligence and Verbal Aikido. He has shared on the biggest stages in the world with some of the biggest names, including Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, Bob Proctor, Steve Forbes, Grant Cardone, Dr. John DeMartini, Robert Allen, the likes of Sir Richard Branson. James has trained internationally law enforcement agents to master de escalation through verbal Aikido. And he has helped some of the world's most powerful financial institutions, including RBC, Dominion Securities, CIBC, Wood Gundy, and Scotia McLeod to enjoy the fastest path to sustainable growth through advanced emotional intelligence and pure communications mastery. James is committed to helping you live your best possible life. Live life as God has created you in abundance. And today we will have him here to share with us abundance in service.
Well, hello. Thank you so much, Miriam. I'm so honored to be able to connect with you here. For those of you who are in Miriam's world of wonder and awe, you would probably know just how magnificent she is. But I'm a raving fan. Every time I see her, I know my life is about to get better. Every time she opens her mouth, I know my life and the lives of everyone who's listening, their lives are about to improve. And this is such a huge honor to be invited here. So thank you, my dear and beautiful soul friend.
It's an honor to have you on this stage, an honor to share with you, James. I have learned so much from you on a daily basis. And viewers, this is one of my mentors who have taught in many different ways, has shared his life story, has strengthened so many. And today he is here just to share a little bit about who he is and what he has done and how God has used him to enhance the life of Miriam and hundreds and thousands of others. So, James, as you are here with us, and I'm so happy that some of the persons who have known you many years ago and you have new fans now, your fan club has expanded because anyone who is my fan is also yours. So, what do you give them as just a little bit? I know
Sure.
we read about verbal aikido and pure spiritual intelligence. And we are here to live in abundance. We are here to serve in abundance. To share a little bit about, let's start at the macro level. What is
Mhm.
verbal Aikido?
Verbal Aikido is the powerful path to peace. Now, the word Aikido is a Japanese word, and it means the powerful path to peace. That's what the word actually means. So, verbal Aikido is the ability to have interactions, connections, verbal and nonverbal, to master the connection. And in verbal Aikido, the secret is that there's nothing you can say or do that I need to be afraid of. My role is to take whatever you say, whatever you give me, positive or negative, and to do my very best to manage the interaction to create about the best possible outcome. So even if it's a de-escalation with law enforcement where there's grave danger around, or whether it's $1 billion deal with an international bank, the question is, how do I best manage myself in this interaction to bring about the highest possible potential? So Aikido is a non-adversarial martial art, and it merely says, I won't fight. You can attack me, but I won't fight. And I do have communication skills if necessary to protect myself and to protect those around me. But it is known by many as the world's most powerful, authentic, respectful communications philosophy. So yes, I'm very proud of it. And I think everyone in the world will be thrilled to master verbal Aikido.
Powerful. As you talk about verbal Aikido and communications, this is one of the tools that's in the workplace and in any sphere of life that so
Mm-hmm.
many persons have challenges with. Now, how do you share with the masses of the corporations that you have helped to earn
Mm-hmm.
millions manage that skill?
Well, it begins, I believe, with self awareness. And what I do, the way I normally start my presentations within the financial sector, well, all corporate accounts, the way I start is I say, well, I'm a communications expert and I help people communicate. Has anyone here ever found someone who, they really brighten a room just by leaving it? You ever had those difficult people in your life? Who here can think of a difficult person, like a real pain in the arse, difficult person? And I have people put up their hand, and I ask them, can you think of one specific and get their face and just really imagine it? And I get them to do that. And I say, who thinks that other person that you're thinking of could use communication training? Everyone's like, please save them. And I say, okay, now let's pretend for a moment you're not here, but they are. The person in your mind is the one sitting in front of me, and you're not. And if I ask them to think of a difficult person, is it possible they'll think of you?
Hmm.
And so, is it possible that we're all the difficult person in someone's eyes? Is it possible that it's not good guys against bad guys? It's humans managing their interactions. I, as a faith-based person, I'm completely committed. I'm a Christ follower and so on. Well, if I can disagree with God, knowing God is perfect, and that's just silly, then it's reasonable for me to believe that I might be wrong when I'm interacting with humans. So the starting place of communications mastery is sufficient wellness to say, I'm part of this story. I'm not a victim. I'm not here to save. I'm here to communicate respectfully and learn together. So it starts with humility and then the possibility of better outcomes. Like, how would you like it if everyone in the world wanted to hang out with you? If everyone loved you, liked you, respected you? If everyone wanted to do business with you or date you, and everyone would listen to what you say and just feel a great connection, who would love that? Well, that's verbal Aikido. It's how to master myself. Now, by nature, people will naturally feel a connection with five, probably less than 10, but let's say 5% of the population. If you walk into a room of people you've never met before, probably 5% of them, you're going to see someone who's like, oh, that's my kind of guy. That's my kind of gal. That's my kind of person. I can feel it. It's like we're best friends and we haven't met yet. Well, that's rare. You can develop the ability to have that level of connection with 100% of the room. And so it's not about luck and it's not about them. It's about, can I master my ability to show up with calm confidence, safe strength, and a pure motivation to be able to handle anything I face. So verbal Aikido takes the responsibility and sees not, it doesn't look for what I get out of a relationship, but sees all relationships as the treasures in and of themselves. So that's a little glimpse at verbal Aikido. But thank you for letting me talk about it. I didn't know I was going to be allowed. Yay.
Powerful, powerful. Seeing the possibility of a conversation, a communication, and getting the best out of it for both
Hmm.
the person communicating with and yourself. Powerful. Now, as we look at the the phase that we're coming from, looking at COVID, I know there are so many imbalances in different areas of life, both in the corporate and in families and throughout the world. Now, as a communication specialist, how would you how would you share with someone who has been locked away for so many
Mm.
years, away from everyone? How would you help them return
Well,
to return to
yeah, sorry
normal
to cut
life?
you off. Hmm. So who knows what normal is? Let's start with that. But I think the step number one is if any individual watching this, listening to you and to myself, and you may have some hesitancy about any level of human interaction. So whether it's COVID related or whether it's I had my heart broken too many times, I can't I don't feel safe to fall in love again. I'm not even safe going out there and interacting. Maybe I got burned in business too many times, so I can't trust anybody in business. Or maybe I've had too many. Problems with managers, so I have. So it doesn't have to be a COVID thing. It doesn't have to be personal. It doesn't have to be. It's in any context where you feel a discomfort. I think step number one would be to say, I feel discomfort. and and not to try and hide it from yourself, and and to realize that's not abnormal. I spent most of my life with extreme social phobias. I only learned to hug people about 15 years ago. If anyone came near me, I would be defensive. I came from a challenging background. And so for me, I had enormous social phobias. I was comfortable on stage, but I wasn't comfortable in a crowd. I wasn't comfortable talking to actual humans one to one. But when I was on stage, something about that, allowed myself to feel safe because there was a gap between me and the audience. So I lived most of my life with extreme social phobias, but it doesn't change the fact that I didn't have to stay that way, right? So it's step number one is say, okay, at the moment I'm uncomfortable at the moment, and then you can analyze it just by saying, um, I have a hesitancy because I have something in my head makes me think or feel that if this, then that. And when you try and put words to it, sometimes you can just debunk it right there and just try and get a handle on what is it specifically and not to be shy about anything that's truth. When we start from truth, we can get anywhere. The next thing would be to say the best way to overcome any fear of any form is safe mini risks. So to say, I may not be willing to go to a place and look at a stranger in person, shake their hand and say hi, but I can start by saying hi on social media, or I can start with my friends, or I can, and just inch by inch, step by step, venture into that tunnel of terror until you come out on the bright side of freedom, right? But it requires action. You don't think your way out of fear, you act your way out of fear. And so to say, how much can I bite off today until I find myself back in the world and doing the things? So that would be my suggestion, whether it's COVID related or anything, just to say, acknowledge it, try and put some words to it for yourself, and then say, what can I do today? And just take a step in the right direction. Don't worry about speed, but do be mindful of direction and momentum. Keep moving. So hopefully that's helpful.
Acting your way out of fear in order to get to the next level of life. Powerful. As we are um, looking at all of the accomplishments and all of the successes in your life, with pure spiritual intelligence, I'm a recipient of a lot of the learning. And
Mhm.
if you could just share
Sure.
with our audience what is pure spiritual intelligence and how it has helped, how, how it has helped in your service to humanity.
Well, thank you. It's my favorite topic, really, to talk about spirituality. So to facilitate that conversation, if you don't mind, I'm going to share a bit of my story, and then I'll
Oh,
put in some pieces to be able to kind of bring it together. Is that okay with you?
certainly.
So I come from a challenging background, and my life almost ended many times as a child due to accidents or violence that I wasn't causing. And I had severe brain injuries where they thought I might not survive at one point. I couldn't speak until I was 9 years old in sentences. I couldn't read until I was 21. I have ADHD, I have dyslexia, uh, uh, complex PTSD, and a bunch of other fancy letters. And so when I started out, I was safe to say in trouble. And when I was um, finishing high school, everything changed, and I was going to be homeless. And so I couldn't even fill in a tenants application. I had been working jobs and paying rent since I was 13, but I didn't know how to fill in the application because I hadn't learned to read and write at that point, at the age of 19. So I bought a car for $500. I'm in Toronto, Canada. And I drove to Florida thinking if I'm homeless in Florida, big deal, I'm on the beach. I'll be homeless in style. It turns out it's
Amazing.
illegal to sleep on the beach. But so I packed everything I owned into a car, drove to Florida. And shortly after I got there, somebody stole my car with all of my belongings. And I thought, if there's a God, you've got to be kidding me, right? And then I started spiraling into dangerous behaviors, and I would have been dead or in prison, quite frankly, within 6 months. I can pretty much guarantee that. And I would say, by the grace of God, I I um, I had a turnaround. And a girl I met, she invited me to her church, and at that church, I was just turned on by whatever I heard. I thought, whatever this is, I've been wanting to find this. I want to learn more. So I went, and she helped me buy a Bible, but the problem was I couldn't really read, but she helped me. I was very slow, but I started to read. The first thing I started to read was the Bible, and I went to the church, all of their meetings, and then finally, I really felt, honestly, I was sitting alone one time in my apartment, and I felt God talk to me, and you might think, okay, he's crazy. Well, maybe I am, but I felt that, and I thought God said, well, do you want a relationship with me or not? I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know enough. And then I thought, wait, is this the last time you're going to ask? So I thought, okay. And I didn't understand all the Bible stuff about sin and hell and all that. But I just thought, if you're willing to take this life and make something of it, I'm in. Like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. So I, quote unquote, handed my life over to God. And that was when I just turned 20, sorry. And then after that, it was like, oh my gosh, my eyes were open. I started having, ambition and confidence, and started learning from motivational tapes. Again, my reading was very bad. But I started listening to motivational tapes and blah 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 blah. I was a janitor. That was my career, because without reading, right? And then I came back to Canada, and I got a job at a tuxedo place, and I rented tuxedos, and I was always listening to these audio cassettes and going to church and all that. Long story short, after a year or two, a year and a half, I guess, being back in Canada, um, I I I changed jobs, and I I realized that I could talk. I didn't realize that, but I went to a sales training, and I ended up taking over the class. And I didn't want to. I was actually petrified of humans, but the teacher couldn't answer a question, and so I answered it, and everyone was impressed. And so I ended up taking over that class, and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I can be a speaker. But I was a janitor, salesman, speaker. So
So
that's how
your
it all started.
life changing experience. Continue.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say, if you want to understand the secret to pure spiritual intelligence, it starts with reconnection. See, I believe we're all sent here. We're all spiritual beings currently existing in a physical form. We do this thing, and Miriam knows it very well. But I would say that you and I are compassionate and creative spiritual beings currently existing in physical form. We're infinitely valuable, exquisitely unique, and perfect in our personhood. Our natural state is in euphoric, joy-filled relationship to divine love and in loving connection to all living things. So I believe step one to having your best possible life as your best possible self is reconnect to divine. And if you say, well, I don't believe in God, fine, then call it energy, call it divine love. You can say God, Jesus, Allah, whatever's your jam at the moment. But I would say number one, connect to divine love, connect to God, if you will. that's the first step of pure spiritual intelligence, and only then do our eyes open. We start seeing everything differently, including ourselves. And that's step two: reconnect to oneself. Like, get on your own team, forgive yourself, find ways of healing. We've all been through something. And then step three is reconnect with the physical world, as far as people and nature. And then the third step, what happens is you begin to become a flow through of love energy. And you just say, wait, how can I serve? How can I make the world a better place? I'll give everyone a simple idea, and that is leave every room better than you found it. It's a very simple idea. Leave every room better than you found it. So if you want to walk into a restaurant, you could go in saying, I demand service, and I'm going to tear a strip off of anyone who doesn't give me what I want. I'm going to demand what I want. I'm going to throw the food and ask for money. Or you can go in and say, this restaurant's going to be a better place by the time I leave. And you create a connection with the service, a connection with this. You're grateful and kind and maybe generous with your tip. And that room is now a better place, and all the people they touch are going to be better off because you showed up, right? The world is a better place when you show up with love and service. And to serve greatly is to deserve greatly. The word deserve means from service. So it's only to the degree that we serve greatly that we deserve greatly. So if you say, well, I'm not making enough, I say, well, then you're not giving enough. You're not serving enough. You're not making the world a better place. And even though let's jump from pure spiritual just to talk about capitalism, right? The marketplace. Well, this is how we get paid. The pure capitalism, not the exploitative stuff that you and I both know too much about, but pure capitalism is I serve, I deserve, right? If you don't know how to build a house and I build it for you, you pay me. I make profit, I can feed my family.
Correct.
So if you're not serving, you're not deserving. And so if you want to be a master, and live your best possible life as your best possible self, and truly know what the word abundant means, which means overflowing, life that I can't even consume and contain, I'm just overblessed. Master service. And the way that we never feel spent is to be connected to the infinite source, so you're always flowing. So that's a little glimpse at pure spiritual intelligence.
Awesome. You serve greatly, you deserve greatly. Awesome. You leave the room better than you saw it. Those are some fundamentals that not the first I'm hearing, but I know a lot of persons, because of where they're coming from, not serving from abundance, they are scared, maybe. Do you think it's because of fear why sometimes people don't serve to their capacity?
Yes. And this is one of the things that fear only exists in the lives of those who are disconnected from source. One of the things they teach in the Bible, the Christian version of spirituality, says perfect love casts out all fear. And when we're in a connection to divine love, who can bother me, right? That's like saying, if you're connected to infinite wealth, infinite wisdom, infinite intelligence, if you believe the hordes of heaven, the armies of heaven surround you and protect you and guard you and guide you, then how upset would you be about anything, right? It's like, if you had like the world's biggest army behind you, and some guy in a street corner says, I want to fight you, you're like, what are you, crazy? Like, you wouldn't be fearful because you know who's got you, right? You know who's got your back. You have infinite wealth, infinite wisdom, infinite power, all on your side. Then you're not a fear-based person. Perfect love casts out all fear. And so when a person is connected, they become fearless. And when we're disconnected, we lose vision, identity, and purpose. So a person becomes needy and greedy in the absence of pure connection and the absence of what is like a true, pure abundance. When a person is disconnected, they lose vision. They don't know, why I'm here. They lose identity. They don't know who they are. And purpose. They don't even know what they want, what they're called for, what is their passion, their purpose, and their drive. So people live their lives saying, who am I? What do I want? Why am I here? And that leaves them in a very vulnerable position. They're not in the fast lane, they're in the slow lane, trying to figure out what am I supposed to do in life, and fearful that if someone takes the 3 cents I have, now I'm penniless, rather than feeling like a billionaire, that if you steal $1 million, I'm like, well, good thing it was just $1 million, right? It's that feeling of abundance says, you just can't scare me. I know who's got my back. So fear is the mother of all kinds of evil, right? And in the Bible says the love of money, and what that means is the belief that money is the answer, right? That's all. That if you
Mm.
think money's going to fix it, I'm not going to judge you. Go for it. Do whatever you got to, whatever you think is right and good. But you're going to find out that it didn't do it for you. Someone said to me, the most heartbreaking thing is to spend your whole life trying to get rich, thinking that's going to make you happy, and then getting rich and saying, crap, now what's going to make me happy? It's like, okay, I invested my entire life thinking that was the answer. It turns out it wasn't. So um, fear, greed, these things come from a basic disconnection that gives us a calm confidence, a safe strength, and a pure motivation. It says, I'm here to serve, and I'm having a blast doing it.
So once connected to God, who is the source, the abundance of love, the abundance of the abilities that is needed will through. I'm
Hmm.
just paraphrasing, powerful.
Hmm.
Now, as you talk about identity, I know we see in the world, and sometimes we experience it in even in our family, identity crisis.
Hmm.
Just give us a little bit more about identity and why is it so important to know who we are?
Well, we have three prime directives in our heart of hearts. One is the survival instinct, of course, right? Survival instinct is our greatest driver. So survival is one. Another one is self-actualization, to be all that I can be. And the third is conscience, right? We want to do right, be good, do good. And so if self-actualization is our number one driver, or one of the three prime directives, and I don't even know who I am, that's a problem. And so I remember as a young man when I was struggling with all kinds of things, depression and all kinds of trouble when I was young, I was quite a mess. And people would say, well, just be yourself. I'm like, well, frick, if I knew what that was, I'd be fine. I have no idea what you're talking about. They're like, calm down, be yourself. I'm like, shut up. I don't know what that is. And so it is a fundamental need to have an answer to the question, who am I? And it's such a psychic need that at the age of two, this is why they call them the terrible twos, because by the age of two, there's some level of awareness of this disconnection from source. Up until two, we still smell like heaven. We're still kind of dialed in, naive and loving, happy, and da da da. But around the age of two, we realize there's some people in control of this planet, and we're not one of them. And we realize I don't know who I am, and so you can do without vision and purpose at the age of two, but you can't do without identity. And so what is created is called the ego. And so there's many people talk about ego in different ways, but ego is the identity I made up as a surrogate to keep me alive while I'm trying to figuring out who I really am. And the challenge is this surrogate took on a life of its own and it thinks it's me. And so it turned from a surrogate to a counterfeit. And now I'm trapped into this fake identity. And self-actualization has been hijacked by it. And it wants to survive, but it's like a virus. So if the virus survives, the body dies, right? If the virus is successful, the body is gone. So because it's like a mind virus, this ego thing, it is really not our pal. And so that's how urgently it's so urgent that we have a peace in knowing, who am I? Why am I here? And what do I want? What brings me joy? These are absolute essentials. So yeah, it's one of the most important elements to a life, to know who I am.
Who I am. God is my source. So once I'm connected to source, I will not fear. And once I'm
Hmm.
connected to source, I will know my identity. And therefore,
Hmm.
ego will not parade itself and hijack my true self. Powerful. As you
Yep.
talk about ego and centering oneself, with your wisdom, how did you how were you able to start reading and reach the masses with what God has downloaded in you? How did you reach this level?
Mm.
Because I know there are a lot of persons out there who are saying, I'm stuck. And now here is an example of someone who has started 21, reading 21, and ex- now is able to reach the world at different levels, all different levels.
Well, I think, anyone who has achieved anything that you would call unnatural or abnormal, right? They'll tell you how they did it. But I have the honor of being backstage in the green room with the world's most successful, powerful people. And when I keep pressing them, what's your secret to success? How did you do it? Get past the book and the speech and everything they tell everybody. But when I get them alone, I poke them long enough, they'll say, I have no idea. I'm just lucky. They'll say, I don't know. Maybe God gave it to me. I don't know. I mean, I was in the right place at the right time. But you can't sell a book that says I was lucky, right place and right time. But so I think that's an important thing for me to say. There isn't a secret some people know that you don't know. Um, I mean, I'm not saying there are no secrets that some
Correct.
people know you don't know, but what's most important is they did what they could every day, and then it's like the harder I work, the luckier I get, and so circumstances, forces, unseen, luck, if you will, just start happening to a person who's dialed in and committed to saying, what are my strengths and abilities, competence and capacities? What are my loves and my passions and my purpose? And how can I leave every room better than I found it? If you're that kind of a person, it's like all of heaven is searching for people like that to say, we got a good one here. Send all the resources you can, make them lucky, give them contacts, give them resources, give them insight, because the more we give them, the more they pass on. And so if there is a God, and if God loves his or her, their creation, then it is reasonable that divine love would prefer sending more abundance to those who pass it on. And so if you're a person who's passing it on, then the supernatural will just interfere and you just get freaking lucky. I don't know how else to put it, but it's not without effort. Let's put it this way. I work harder than most anyone I've ever met. I always have. I've burned out multiple times, which is unhealthy and unwise. And I stand corrected, but I, I'm not lazy, and I'm not a quitter. Sometimes I felt broken, but I'm not a quitter. So as soon as I have enough energy to do anything, I'm back at it. I'm always doing the best I can, I think. So, and it's not, I'm not trying to win over anyone. I'm trying to make the world the best possible place I can, try to be the best possible version of myself and leave the most uh, positive impact. And that's it. And then I just get lucky. And a lot of my biggest moments of breakthrough, you'd call them luck or miracles or whatever, they happened when I wasn't necessarily on the top of my game. I wasn't working the hardest, or I wasn't being the smartest, or I wasn't behaving perfectly or something. It didn't seem like there was any relationship to all the work I did and when I was blessed with successes. The successes, the things that have gone right, came right whenever the heck they felt like it. But my MO is to try and always be the best man I can be, and to leave the most positive impact I can, and to stretch and grow and heal at all times. But there isn't an actual direct relationship between what I did and what I got. Um, do this, and then you'll be the kind of person that gets lucky. Does that make sense? Like it's not as direct, do that and you'll get this. It's like, no, do that in whatever miracle is supposed to happen. Whatever's best is going to come your way.
As you said, if you serve greatly, you deserve greatly.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
So you're operating from the premise of let me do all that I can do, and then God will do it. There's a scripture I will find. I hope I'll remember exactly where it's taken. It says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." So you're giving
Mm-hmm,
service. Press in
mm-hmm.
good measure, pressed down,
Yeah.
shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. So the short form
Mm-hmm,
of this scripture is you serve greatly and you deserve greatly. Powerful.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
So,
one of the things that, if you don't mind, sorry, I just had a thought. One of the things that I think gets in the way is overthinking it. Um, I th- I think after I say problem is overthinking it, I think the best we can do is what we can do, not what we can think. It's just like get off your arse, dial the phone, call people, try stuff, be nice, forgive yourself, seek healing and restoration in every department, seek to learn to meditate and pray and connect with divine, seek to reconnect to nature, eat right, exercise, like just, do the best you can and just trust that wild, crazy, beautiful miracles are just going to fall into your lap. And 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 they don't have to be miracles that would impress anybody else. Like it doesn't mean you have to get rich or whatever. The happiest people in the world aren't the richest people in the world, and I'm not against riches. But if you ask me to guess, I would say happiness economically maxes out around 250,000 a year. I just I just think I figured that out. That um, happiness does not increase past that. I mean, you can enjoy it and you can spend more, and you can use that money to do good, right? But you don't get happier after a quarter million a year. It's just like wait, how many ice cream cones do you need? How many cars do you need? It's like you got it. So I'm not talking about money necessarily, and then I'm not talking about money. I'm merely saying just do all the good you can while connected to flow with good intentions, and just know that that's the dream life right there.
awesome. The scripture I was alluding to was Luke 6, verse 38.
Mm,
Do all the good you can. Give, and it shall be given to you in good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. So we talk about abundance,
hmm
being abundant in service. You serve greatly, you deserve greatly. So giving of your true self is what
hmm
you have been doing. And as we as we look on society and with the all of the AI or artificial intelligence, and the sometimes we hear of the different things, the misconceptions. Now, I know you are an avid person where artificial intelligence is concerned. You have a little um, background in it. How do you help us as a society uh, tell us that it's not a bad thing? Because just as how we have technology advancing, this is another way of
hmm
expanding technology.
Sure. Well, just about every single breakthrough in every form has had skeptics saying it's going to be the end of the world, right? When when they invented the locomotive train, um, someone said a human being cannot survive being inside of anything that travels 50 miles an hour. The heart in all the bodies will just explode if you ever had a body move 50 miles an hour. Well, I'm glad they were wrong. Um, the the there was a time they shut the guy said we should shut down the patent office back in like 1930 or 40. He said everything that needs to be invented has been invented. We got to stop inventing. And so it's on and on and on. Computers are the end of the world. This is the end of the world. I was like, oh, for crying out loud. The world's probably going to last longer than I'm here. But that doesn't mean to be unwise. I'm saying be fearless. Fearless and wise is a good combination. So I'm not afraid of anything, but I'm not going to walk down the street naked at 3 in the morning in a bad neighborhood. Well, I guess no one wants to look at me anyways, but that's fine. But but lack of fear is not lack of wisdom. So fear not. That's not your friend. Fear is never your friend. Plus, it shuts down the brain. So you want to be wise instead of afraid. So then the question is, okay, this AI thing, whether I love it or hate it or participate or not, it is right. It is. It's not stopping. It's
Mhm.
coming. So the question is, maybe I pray about it. It's like any tool. It's not the tool; it's who's using it, right? So the tool itself is just the tool. I don't believe AI will ever become the monster, that they talk about in the movies like Terminator or whatever. I just don't think that's going to happen. But I do believe that human beings can use it for evil, just like they use just about anything for evil. So
That's
that's something that, yes, we should be praying about. That said, though, it is reasonable that within the next 10 years, at least half of the jobs in the world will no longer exist. Half of the jobs, and that's not a small matter. Between robotics and artificial intelligence, half of the work, and it's going to continue to increase. So it's people say, oh, that's horrible, that's horrible. Well, or it's not, right? Like, so what is it that machines can't do that we can do that makes us special? And the answer is be human. The secret to always being in demand is to be an authentic human being, not fake. That's what AI is. It's fake humanity. So if you're fake humanity, it's going to be better than you at being fake human. So it's the authenticity, it's the genuine connections, it's the relationship building, it's all the things that make us special. We're not animals and we're not computers. We're something beautiful beyond all of that. And if we will put the emphasis on taking my humanity to the next level, mind, body, and spirit, I will always be in demand. Like one of the things that I learned when I was a kid, when I was listening to these audio cassettes, I say kid, like 20 years old, they said the most secure job in the world is salesman. They said, no matter what's going on in the world, if you can sell, you are always in demand. You could be dropped off anywhere in the world. They can blindfold you, put you on an airplane, drop you off in any country. And even if you don't know the language, if you can sell, you're going to be fine. And I thought, okay, I want to develop the ability to sell. To sell, I have to learn my own emotional intelligence. I must learn to make connections, rapport, to understand, to persuade, to have conflict resolution skills. And so I just thought, if I can master communications, I'm set in a world no matter what. And so there's some things yeah, the safety in a future of AI is to be more human, not less human. And we have been devolving, not evolving, for quite some time now. So humanity was evolving, and then we started becoming less human, less authentic, less spiritually. What makes us different than the animals? Not just our brain, but our spirit. And
Amen.
so to be more human, to take our humanity to the next level, means we are always in high demand and we are safe in any environment. So yeah, AI is happening and it's powerful. And between that and the robots, it's going to affect job security. But the word job and the word security should never have been connected. There's never been
Correct.
such thing as job security. Every single employer is trying to get rid of every single employee. If they could do it without you, they will. If they can get anyone cheaper or any machine to replace you, they will. And some would say that's the ethic of business. Their job is profit, not popularity. So I've never believed in job security. Plus, I couldn't keep a job. I drove every boss crazy. But yeah, competence in communication, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, these are the things that make us the most irreplaceable value on this planet. And plus, it's more fun to be a great human.
Powerful. Now, as you're talking about that, how can you share with them retooling, or as you said, being competent? Competent doesn't mean just staying at the same level, because
Mm.
as you rightly said, that being human, you will be able to have a job even when AI takes on the fake human part. How do you shift? What would you say to someone who they're capped where they are,
What
is
does
a
that mean? They're
retool,
kept where they are.
meaning that, okay, I am set in terms of my skills and capabilities.
Mhm.
If AI can do that aspect of the job, how would you help mentally help them to retool or improve their skill level so they can remain an authentic human?
Well, to me, it's tricky to answer the question. I'm trying to figure out which job I'm trying to help somebody with. But if your job is like I lift a piece of metal and put it on a conveyor belt, think fast because a robot's going to take that job, right? So if my job is purely mechanical in nature, that job's going to disappear. I'm not trying to be rude. So what I'm saying is, what cannot be replaced is that which is truly human. So let's say you're a school teacher, right?
Mhm.
And they say, well, everyone's going to be learning from their iPads. Everyone's going to be homeschooled, and children will have social groups, not teaching groups, because one-on-one, an AI. I'm actually working on a project right now where the AI can, when it takes on a student, the AI says, well, tell me all about you. What are your favorite games? What are your favorite like sports? What are your favorite things? So let's say the kid says, I'm into video games. I'm into, I don't know, Call of Duty, a shooter game, I guess. Then and I love apples and I hate broccoli. So it's gonna take that knowledge and it's okay. So as we learn math, think of it as Call of Duty and da 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 da. Think of it as you're the captain, and it's gonna teach every lesson from the child's interests and comfort zones, and it will know how confident they are to take the next step, and it will always be patient. So it is not only one-on-one teacher student dynamics, which is excellent. It's better than any teacher in the sense, in the cerebral sense, that it can find stories and illustrations. No teacher can tap into everything and every kid is into, but the AI can. So in that way, the AI can always outperform a school teacher. And you say, well, James, this is discouraging. No, there's nothing like a human soul that connects to a human soul and says, I believe in you. AI will
Mhm.
never be able to do that. So if all you're doing is going through the motions of accurately spitting out content and accurately judging their answers, that you're going to be replaced. But if you have the ability to touch a soul, you're irreplaceable in any career.
The human aspect, that touch at the core. If you can tap into that person, and that's who you are, James, in all of your deliberation with us as in your class. And I'm happy that my audience can feel a little bit of what you have been given to us all these months. Now, as we are on the few final moments of our deliberation, can you let me see if there are any specific questions from my audience, because the chat was lighting up. So let me see if there's any specific question. Oh, Queen Mary, they're just enhancing what you're saying. They can attest to what you're saying. Um,
Thank you. It's very kind.
okay, there are no question. They're just embracing, enhancing what you're saying. Now,
Sure.
as as you rightly said, being an authentic human
Hmm.
is the best way to stay in the know and also be able to offer service continually with humanity for
Hmm.
humans and not being sidelined by AI. In our few moments, if you could just sum up what you have said in, nice summary, the pure spiritual intelligence, the verbal aikido, and just being that pure human who touches lives
Mm.
and making the place wherever it is better than when we saw it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I'd ask everyone here and watching this recorded or live, to ask yourself the question: have you ever thought or felt, man, there's more to me than this world has seen? I haven't unleashed, I haven't unlocked, I haven't really let myself off the chain. I have strengths and abilities, competence and capacities. I've got love, I've got passion, I've got ideas, I've got, I want to unleash myself and be all that I can be. Well, the good news is you're right. There's more to you than this world has seen. And you can unleash it. You can unlock it. You can enjoy that freedom. Maybe for you, it's letting go to be able to go forward. I'm, I'm wondering if you're willing to accept this. Everything that's ever happened in your life up until this moment was perfect. You might say, no, 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 you don't know my story. Well, you may not know mine. But I'm grateful for 100% of every second of my life. All of the tragedies, things that nobody wants to hear about, all of the mistakes of mine, my fails, their fails, all of that was necessary to make me me. All of that was necessary to make you you. So you got to today for a reason. You know what you know. You've experienced what you've experienced. You've seen what you've seen. You have empathy and compassion that other people don't have. Maybe you've gone through things because you're the person that's going to help other people not have to go through those same things. Maybe you're the one who's supposed to make that change, make that difference. Maybe I don't know how. So you're not expected to know anything you don't know. You're not expected to do anything you're not expected to do. You're only called upon and given the opportunity to do what you can with what you know, with what you've got, with who's with you. Not to look at what you don't have, what you don't know, what you can't do, who's not with you. That energy may not serve you well. But to choose today to say, maybe today is the day that everything turns. Maybe today is the end of my before picture. They have those in those fitness things, right? You get the person with the belly and they're not unhappy and all that. That's the before picture. Now they're happy and sexy and somehow taller. I don't know what the, the after picture is in those fitness things. Well, maybe today's the end of your before picture. Maybe today's the day that you're going to say, God, if that word's okay with you, divine love, I'm done living small. I'm done being angry. I'm done being sad. I'm done, pitying myself. I'm done being afraid. I'm done. All I know is my answer to me from now on is yes and amen. Because divine God, I believe your answer to me is yes and amen. Why should I stand against my best possible life when you don't? And maybe today's the day to say, I trust, and I'm just going to start taking steps. I have a lot to learn, I have a lot to heal, but I'm never going to back down, shut up, sit in a corner. As long as I'm alive, I'm going to act alive. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to play big. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to stub my toe and break my heart and lose some money and make some money. But don't ask me not to live while I'm alive. As for me and my house, as for me today forward, God, you're gonna have to stop me because I'm going for it. I'm done being afraid. I only have the time I have, and I'm not going to waste it. From this day forward, I'm going to see how much love I can pour into this world. And God, I'm calling upon you to fill me up, to guard me, protect me, guide me, and direct me. I want to be the best possible version of myself and live my best possible life. I want to fall in love again with humanity, with life, with my life. I want to go for it. I want to play. I want to laugh, sing, dance. And so, as for me, today's the last day of me doing anything but my best because I want to be the best possible version of myself, living my best possible life. And I won't look at relationships in the context of what I can get out of them. I'm going to look at my relationships as treasures in and of themselves. And I'm going to love those I love. I'm going to be a good steward of my time, my talent, my treasure. As for me, as from now on, I'm just going to go for it. And divine, I'm trusting you. It's up to you to keep me out of trouble. You can assign more angels. Keep him out of trouble. He's at it again. Why not today just say, I'm going for it. I'm going to live out loud in love and see what kind of an impact I can have. And I'm going to have fun doing it.
Live out loud. Live out loud in love. Powerful. That's service in abundance. Abundance in
Mm.
service. Living out loud. And viewers, you can find James MacNeil on a 30-day miracle challenge,
Hmm.
7 a.m. every morning, except the 7th, the 14th, and the 28th of each month. And you can also find his work on verbal Aikido on 6 p.m. That's New York time. If you don't have that information, you can check me for it. He is a force to be reckoned with. He has given up his service, all of what he has taught us. It's valuable information that enhances your life, my life, on a daily basis. James, it's an honor that you were able to come and serve on this platform, giving of yourself, giving of your
Mm.
time. And I know your service, you will hear, well done, because you serve greatly, you deserve greatly. You give of your time, your talent, your expertise. And I'm grateful that you were able to come and share with our viewers what you have, what God has invested in you. Thank you so much.
Mm.
And don't go as we do the exit. Stay right
Mhm.
there. We'll hear a little music. You can dance
Yeah.
while it goes on. Thank you so much. Viewers, thank you for watching. And remember, hit the notification all so you and share with others that you will not miss out on any of these wonderful information each week. Once again, thank you. This is Miriam Edwards for another episode of Mindset.